Alright, guys, welcome to the Pit Stop, our post-race follow-up on NASCAR races. This is a new podcast, and we're going to try and keep up with it every week, assuming we can. As of right now, we just finished up Kansas the other day, and we want to just do a little discussion on Kansas. Jimmy Johnson won the race on a gamble, a very good gamble. In fact, quite a few drivers were beneficiaries of gambling on old tires, which kind of surprised me. And we even went on NASCAR 14 the game and tried it out, and I'm not gonna say I won a few races on old tires, but I won a few races on tires. Yeah, don't be mad, Caboose. Anyways, I'm Hurdon, this is Caboose, and first off, what do you think on the SpongeBob sponsorship? I mean, it's good for kids, but I feel like that's gonna deter people. Maybe not deter them, but just be like, why are we doing SpongeBob for a NASCAR race? Bring back some Crown Royal sponsored races or something for us alcoholics out there.
Yeah, I can see where they're going with it for the whole entire kids and everything, but I think concentrating on one particular cartoon I think that's the main part that's deterring, because who wants to go to a race and go, hey, what race are you going to go to? I'm going to the SpongeBob sponsored one. That just doesn't sound right. Now it would be different if they just said the channel that hosted that show. So let's say Mythbusters, for example, if they were to host one of the races or be a sponsor, whatever you want to call it, it would be the Discovery Channel race, because that sounds just better in general, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I think SpongeBob is Nickelodeon. I'm not sure, but
It is.
Also I don't know if you remember the whole David Reagan went through the infield and landed right on the SpongeBob logo, and he was sponsored by the SpongeBob car.
that was funny. Even the commentators, even they pointed it out and circled it on the screen as well. The chances of that happening is not very high, and I'm glad that was caught on camera, because that's funny stuff right there.
It was hilarious. Alright, so let's talk about Matt Kenseth just losing the car, Stewart having another bad day. He's currently sitting 30th in points, no wins. 30th is the cutoff for the chase. He's your favorite driver. I can't stand him. We all know that. Well, me and you know that. But
yeah, now we all do.
Fair enough. But his bad luck just keeps continuing, whether it's his own doing, poor cars, or just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, I've been watching Stewart ever since he was back in the Pontiac car, and it's been a while, since like early 2000s. And just real quick on the Tony Stewart thing, honestly, I think he's just in one of his slumps. One thing I've noticed is he tends to go on a really high note, and all of a sudden he's just down. Now, these incidences, like with getting into the wall, that doesn't exactly help, but yeah, with him, give him one solid victory, and I think he's going to come back and be a great driver again. Just saying.
Okay, I hear you on that, because, I mean, you think about it, when he won 5 chase races that one year, won the championship over Carl Edwards, I believe it was, and he hadn't won a race all year, and he was complaining he didn't deserve to be in the chase, won a championship. So, I think he'll be okay. He's been running further towards the front, but I really think he needs to get the setup that Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick are driving, because he's been complaining about the fact that the car doesn't have that much horsepower. He's not used to it. So, Eric Jones, what an impressive performance, running top 10, and Jimmy Johnson came up behind him, was a little faster. Kevin Harvick was passing him low, pulled up in front of him, and just the air got just whipped around off. He lost it and wrecked it. I don't know if more experience, maybe he'll just let him go, or maybe they were just like, uh, I'm going around him. I don't know. Nobody touched him, and he had a very solid car. It was really disappointing for
Very.
him. What do you think?
Honestly, with him, I think it was just more or less the timing. He's a very good driver. Him and Chase Elliott, they're going to be the next big name drivers for this generation. Uh, and he was running very good. I just think the timing and position of where he was, they were coming right off a turn, and the airflow coming off the turns on Kansas, they can get quite not unbalanced, but not very steady. It can get quite rough. And then having someone pass you at the same time, that airflow is just getting all sorts of jacked. So skill-wise, he's there, but I just think it was just bad, wrong place, wrong time kind of situation, you know?
Right. And that's absolutely correct. Wrong place, wrong time. Car got arrow loose because of other people. And I think he's going to have a really bright future if he stays with Joe Gibbs. Just like Chase Elliott, like you said, being with Hendrick. Joey Logano in these pole positions. That dude starts on the front row every single week. But he can't stay up front when he qualifies on the pole. I had him on my fantasy team earlier this year. Was getting a ton of points. But he can't stay up there. He finishes in the top 10. He's got one win, but that wasn't a race he necessarily dominated. I don't understand what he's doing wrong. I think he's wearing the car out, driving it too hard, and they're not. Maybe his crew chief's not making enough adjustments. Joe Logano won a lot of races last year. He's finally becoming the driver everybody wanted him to be. Do you think he's going to manage to pull off another 5 wins this year?
He's definitely within a shout of getting getting some very high and a high ratio of wins as well. One thing you pointed out with his car, that thing needs to get a little bit better set up because the way he drives, he will burn the tires off of that thing like mad. And so it's just he needs to learn how to calm down, and they need to get that car better set up for the longer run.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Well, let's see. I wanted to touch on Martin Truex Jr. Jesus, what a highway robbery Jimmy Johnson pulled on Truex. Truex made the call that everybody's been making all year. Go in, get fresh tires. That's the best thing at every track, right? Not if it pins you in traffic. Too many people stayed out. The old tires were working well. And, I mean, Kevin Harvick apparently was the only guy that could make those extra tires work and drive past somebody, and I don't pass that many people in the final restart. Him and Junior were having a nice little battle there. I mean, Jimmy Johnson stole that race, and he almost didn't because Dale Jr. was fighting him strong on the inside. Junior even said after the race, he was like, I could have done better on the outside. And he probably could have. The outside lane on the restart was money.
It was, and to be honest, freaking Truex did get robbed. And if he had a little bit more fuel in his car, so he didn't have to come in and do a quick splash and dash, I honestly think it would have been neck to neck racing by the time they got to the checkered flag.
Right. Well, Truex had a phenomenal car on the long run, even the medium run. But I like seeing Truex lead. I like the guy. He's not a genuine racer. It just it disappointed me that Jimmy Johnson wound up here goes my good speech again. Coming away with the win. I was happy Dale Jr. Truex, I think, is going to get a win this year. Regardless, the way he's been running, that car's been fast first. I've seen a couple single car operations this year doing well. Even Earnhardt Ganassi, you see some speed out of McMurray and Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson's going to be one of those guys that's going to be around probably for 10 or 15 years. And you're just going to see some of these young guys. You're going to see, I mean, I'm a Dale Jr. fan, but it's probably going to be, a couple years and he's going to be out of it. Gordon's leaving. Jimmy Johnson just as old as Junior. Tony Stewart, he's older than both of those guys. Matt Kenseth, he's 40, 41, something like that. You're going to see these guys disappearing real fast, and NASCAR's going to be brand new all of a sudden. So you're going to find out that the cream of the crop's going to come to the top. Okay, so that's it for Kansas. All-Star race coming up this weekend. Charlotte Motor Speedway. We all know who the favorite is there, and it's Jimmy Johnson. Caboose, pick me a winner for Charlotte Motor Speedway during the All-Star race.
A solid bet is, yes, Jimmy Johnson. But a wild card that might make it into the race to me is Truex. If he can get in there, who knows? His car has been doing great pretty much all year. So who knows? It might be a head-to-head, or not head-to-head, but neck-to-neck race for the finish. Only one way to see, and that's when the race rolls around.
Okay, I'm good with that. I would prefer him to win a points race to be locked in the chase, but right now he's sitting in points. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Jamie McMurray. He's been pretty good at Charlotte. He's kind of my dark horse, but I think maybe he can pull one off. Earnhardt Ganassi Racing's been really fast this year. McMurray's still in his prime. I think he might steal one, but if I had to pick a favorite, it's always Jimmy Johnson at Charlotte. Casey Kane probably be my second choice because he was the one that dethroned Jimmy Johnson at Charlotte, but he hasn't had quite the record of late. Always got to watch out for Brad Keselowski. I mean, any mile-and-a-half track, Keselowski is going to be there. So I think it'll be probably one of the better all-star races of late because there's been too much riding around with the way they've got it set up. It's just a funny format. But I'm thinking Truex is going to race his way into it. And he doesn't for some reason. I'm hoping he gets the fan vote because he deserves to be there the way he's been running. It'd be a very, very disastrous thing for NASCAR if the guy that's second in points doesn't get to race the All-Star race. Like last year when Josh Wise was in the All-Star race because he had a bunch of people online go vote for him over and over and over again. It was the stupidest thing ever. The dude had no business being in the All-Star race. I don't even know if the dude's ever had a top 5 finish. He probably hasn't. He might not even have a top 10 finish. I don't want to see that happen again. And Danica's going to get voted in more than likely, but I'm hoping people wise up and put a Truex in there if he doesn't make it for some reason. And I think Danica's one person that might be able to race her way in. But
yeah, she has her days where she's a really good driver, and then she has her days where she's just an old lump of bad luck.
I see her so many times on the short tracks. She's good at the short tracks. It just takes her all day on the short tracks. It's like, just start running the way you did at the end of the race from the beginning of the race. And then the super speedway. She's good at super speedways, but mile-and-a-half just aren't her forte. She's got the equipment to do it, though. That's no doubt. She's got the cars to do it. I mean, if your teammates are Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, and Kevin Harvick, you've got to believe in your equipment and put the freaking pedal to the metal. Then again, sometimes I think maybe she does that a little too much, and that's why she winds up in the wall so much at Daytona. Yep, I think in her couple of years in NASCAR, she's probably wrecked about 6 cars at Daytona throughout the weekend. But
Yeah, other
she's
people
still
didn't exactly help, but
she's yeah. Well, that's true. But she's still good there. All right. Well, Caboose, you want to have any closing comments or any changes to your pick for the All-Star race?
I think
Probably
my
not.
picks are pretty solid.
Okay, fair enough.
They're locked in. Deal, no deal. I take the deal.
Fair enough. Sounds good to me. And we'll watch the All-Star race, and we might come back and do a podcast after the All-Star race. I don't know yet. If not, we'll be back after Charlotte. We will see a lot more of what it was like in the All-Star race probably, and we might just merge those into one, even though it's a 2-week span. But being this is our first one, we'll figure it out on the fly. But hope everybody enjoyed. If you've got any opinions, comments, or something you'd like to have us discuss, leave it in the comments. Leave a like, leave a subscribe. I don't care either way, but I'd feel better if you did. Caboose, it's been good, and I'll catch you next week.
All right, take it easy, man.